Hi, I'm Tomas Cortez. Remember that in HRpreneur, we will talk about entrepreneurship, culture, diversity, equity and inclusion, digital transformation, agility, innovation, and all those things transforming the talent in organizations and, therefore, people's lives. So, do not forget to fasten your seatbelt because on this journey, we will travel beyond our limits and rationality with a profound exploration of our higher purpose. I hope this episode helps you develop new ideas and well-being for everyone around you. Hello, community of HRpreneur. Welcome back to this new episode of HRpreneur, in which we are going to title The Advantage of Employee Resource Group. Especially this is Juntos Podemos, but welcome back because we are here to discuss a fascinating issue that is critical component in the companies to spread the D&I efforts. I'm talking about, as I mentioned, employee resource groups. But what are those and the importance of conceiving inside the organizations? Well, as we used to in this space, we are going to travel to understand more of the topic, their impact on the different business outcomes like engagement, development, and innovation, and the magnificent option to know how those groups increase psychological safety in organizations. Well, I invite these incredible friends. They are my colleagues, but I always say that all you are my friends who have been part of the ERG inside of AMS called Juntos Podemos. They will share their knowledge about it, adding to their outstanding experience and the impact on their lives. Well, dear friends, I appreciate your time for sharing your knowledge and experience with the audience. But, well, however, to start walking through all this information that we are going to discuss with you to share your knowledge about the ERG groups inside of AMS, I would like that you introduce to our audience who are you, what are your values, information. Could you start, Bianca, sharing your experience or your introduction with our audience?
I'd be happy to. I had a feeling I was going to be first. My name is Bianca Deal. I've been with AMS for quite some time, almost 9 years now. And I was a founder and leader of the Juntos Podemos ERG all the way up until just recently, this past April. So I'm really happy to be here with this great group of all my friends and colleagues.
Okay, thanks, Bianca. Thanks for sharing your knowledge. Well, as you know, I have my script, but anyone wants to jump in your introduction?
I can go next.
Yeah, thanks, Linda.
Hi, everyone. I am Linda Castillo. I am part of the internal talent acquisition team here at AMS. I'm a talent business partner, originally from Mexico. I have been in Canada for the past 25 years with a little gap that I lived in the UK. I was part of the team with AMS in London, and I am based in Canada, Toronto.
Perfect. Thanks, Linda. Who wants?
I could jump in, Tomas.
Okay, go ahead, Augie.
Yeah, sure. My name's Augie, and I've been with AMS since October of 2021, so I'm approaching my second year. But before AMS, I'm also a military veteran. I was in the U.S. Army, and so my background is recruiting. But at AMS and with Synchrony, the account I represent, I support various projects and with special sourcing and also I'm an active member of multiple ERGs, in which we'll discuss today.
Okay, thanks, Augie. Thanks.
Hello, everyone. My name is Crystal. I am fairly new to AMS. I just hit my 1-year mark 2 weeks ago, which is absolutely crazy how time flies. At AMS, I am a talent intelligence consultant on the pharma and life sciences portfolio, which is really fun. I've really enjoyed this role over the past year. And I've enjoyed being part of Juntos Podemos over the past year and being able to take on a leadership role and now join Octavio and Linda as a co-lead as well. It's been really great, and I look forward to talking about it more today. Thank you, Tomas.
Thank you, Crystal. Thanks. Leslie, I don't know if...
So my name is Leslie Contreras, and I live in New Jersey, the United States. And I have been with AMS since October 2021. So I was one of the original founders for Juntos Podemos, and I have been a board member of the ERG since then. So very happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. You are an amazing team, of the dream team of the ERG Juntos Podemos, and I know that you have been creating a huge impact inside of AMS with this initiative. Well, I know that you mentioned all your credentials, your amazing credentials to our audience, but I should remember also that I don't know if you want to share something more about AMS, the company that you and I were. I know that our audience has been listening to something about AMS, but would you like to share something about AMS before to dive into the questions?
I would, Tomas, if that's okay.
Okay, go ahead, Leslie.
This is actually the first time that I work for an RPO, so I wasn't sure what to expect when I came on board. And I have to say, I have been very happy with the organization. They are very open for growth, open for feedback, and it has really given me the opportunity to be my authentic self, to network, to grow, to develop my career. I became a senior diversity recruiter for Synchrony. That is my second account. My first account was Goldman Sachs. So the ability to be able to move around has been great for me, as a learning path. So I have nothing but great things to say about AMS.
Thank you, Leslie, for sharing that to our audience, because I know that they will be eager in the future to know more about this amazing company. Okay, to start, I know that you shared your experience, your knowledge with our audience about what you have been doing prior. But, I would like that we're going to start walking into the questions in this exercise in HRpreneur. But before we dive into the details of ERGs, our audience, would you like to know what an ERG is? Could you explain what ERG stands for and help us understand how they operate at AMS? Augie, I know that you have something to share with us.
ERG, or an Employee Resource Group, is an organization of employees who come together based on shared characteristics, interests, or life experiences. ERGs, they also welcome allies who, while not part of a specific group, actively support and engage the mission. These groups foster a sense of belonging and is vital to our culture here at AMS. At AMS, ERGs consist of volunteers who are passionate about their causes, and each group has the goals and objectives tailored to its interests and the needs of the members. In addition to Juntos Podemos, I'm also an active supporter of our other ERGs, including our military ERG. And in that, we have more allies than we actually have veterans. So it's a privilege for me to be there to share my story as a veteran, but also guide and assist them in being able to assist the veteran community. But that's just a small example. And Juntos Podemos is no different. And we're glad to share our story today, Tomas. Thank you.
No, I appreciate your contribution with this question. We understand what ERG is with these answers from Augie, but could you share with us what ERGs you have at AMS, along with the ERG you belong to, and why this name Juntos Podemos? Also, what future goals or initiatives does your ERG have in mind? What strategies or programs has your ERG implement to promote professional development and growth among members? I know that this question we have Bianca and Linda, because you have a lot to share with our audience, but who wants to take the first step?
I'll take a first whack at this one, Tomas. I want to mention to your listeners that we didn't always have ERGs at AMS. This is really the culmination of ask for something that you want and having that trust from the organization to go forward and to do it. So I'm really like drawing on my own personal experiences. And I didn't mention this during our introductions, but I'm a talent advisor for Synchrony, and I have been promoted a couple of times here at the organization, but still not up in senior leadership. And I was always, you know, from inception of diversity, equity, inclusion initiatives, have always been a part of the board. It's had a lot of different names over the years. Linda was in this with me as well from the early days when this was a work stream. And over time, you start to ask for things, right? It's, you know, we have a really high population of Hispanics and Latinos at AMS.
Mm-hmm.
It would be amazing to have an ERG, and just ask for it and ask for it. And getting that green light to move forward and to do it. Like, okay, this is something we're going to go forward with, do it. And to be empowered and trusted with that is a huge responsibility. But one that we very much appreciate, and we can talk a little bit more about how that has evolved since we launched. But Linda, I know that you also would like to weigh in here about the other ERGs that we have as well.
Okay.
Right, and thanks, Bianca. So at AMS, we currently have 8 employee resource groups. So that includes social mobility, neurodiversity, disability, LGBTQ, Black Employee Network, woman, military, and our greatest, Juntos Podemos. So Juntos Podemos, in its translation, means together we can. So I do recall when we had the initial members, we were actually knocking on doors, sending emails. Who do you know? Invite them to join. Bianca and I just put together a call, invite them all and say, give us your suggestions. And we started hearing, but it has to be a name that it can reflect who we are, who we want to be, and the force that Hispanics are and what we contribute. It has to be something that together we actually see as a vision. It has to be something that we all, so the constant was the force. So I think that's when we say juntos. So together, yeah, we can, and we can do this, and we can influence, and we can demonstrate what the Hispanic community really means behind all taboos, ideas, stereotypes. We can demonstrate if we are together a force. And I think that was a magical moment when we came out and said, yeah, that is indeed the name we want to take. And I think if you ask me, the purpose of Juntos Podemos has been to develop, engage, and promote Hispanic and Latin talent within AMS.
Mm-hmm.
So we celebrate cultural traditions, we drive career growth, and provide educational opportunities for the members and the business. In terms of our 2023 goals, we have centered around inclusion, cross-collaboration with other ERGs, but also providing training opportunities, monthly updates from internal talent acquisition, the engagement we're doing externally with, the focus of attracting other Hispanic professionals, but also the career growth for all of our members.
Oh, so amazing. And I suppose, yeah, the audience, in personal for me, that I belongs to this group, I have been experimenting a great times with them, because that allowed me not only to learn more things internally, just to spread more things with this amazing team, but also with other team members that I have the opportunity to share more experience around all these D&I initiatives. Thanks, Bianca and Linda, for share your thoughts about this ERG and why they call Juntos Podemos. And I know that this is a journey, and I'm pretty sure that you have more goals in the future and more plans to develop for this group. Okay, I appreciate your thoughts around this. Okay.
Oh, can I add one last thing to that?
Yeah.
I just remembered something that, that came out of the selection of the name, and something that I remember Linda had pointed out was that this means the same thing in Portuguese as well. And we do have, our colleagues in Brazil, we wanted to be all inclusive. And so that was sort of the beauty of the name itself.
Thanks, Bianca. Anyone else who wants to add something more around this Let me move ahead with the next questions, because as a researchers, where I have investigated that there are many benefits in the companies that have launched ERGs, like we mentioned at the beginning of this introduction, psychological safety. But in your experience, what are the gifts, and I want to call gifts, and support you have gotten in Juntos Podemos or from other ERGs you belong to? Leslie, could you tell us something around?
Of course. So now you know what an ERG is. For those of you that were not familiar, now you have a good explanation of how we even got started. We really haven't been around for that long. And we can say we have been extremely fortunate with our group of people to really get started and make an impact and a difference within AMS. I have worked in ERGs in other organizations that I worked with prior. So I do come with experience in regards to what are they like, how they work, what can be accomplished. And one of the big things, when you're joining an ERG, you have to think about, yes, we definitely want to make an impact to the organization, but also in a way, what's in it for you? Why would you want to join an ERG, right? One of the reasons for me was definitely learning more about AMS. Working remotely sometimes can be a little challenging getting to know people outside of your account. So this gave me the opportunity to gain that exposure to other people that work for different accounts, gain that exposure to leadership, really work on my skills, different skills when it came to presentation, project management, really providing different ideas on what are the events or type of things that we can do as an ERG here. Also, I've been very lucky. I've been very fortunate to call this group of people my friends. They have become a very special group of people for myself, or I call them my personal friends now. It really has become a safe space, and that's really what we want to accomplish. We want our membership to feel safe, to be able to talk about their challenges, to be able to talk about, how was your day, what's on your mind, what's going on. So we have been concentrating on being able to provide that platform for our members to be able to speak in a safe space. Also, networking. Like I mentioned to you, it has been a great opportunity for me to meet people from different accounts. This is a volunteer role in most organizations. So you're really putting in your time, right? So you're getting out of it what you're putting in. Right? That's the bottom of it. Just being able to balance that time and understand that you are making a difference. You're networking, you're gaining exposure, you're making friends, you have a safe space. And like I mentioned to you before, this particular ERG really opened up doors to me within AMS, even just a year after my team had an opportunity to see strengths. We have the opportunity to see each other's strengths, our opportunities, areas of opportunity. And that's really how I've been able to move from one account to the other, right? Is people get to see your work. People get to see what you're capable of doing. And sometimes that can be a little tricky trying to gain that exposure to other people. So if you're thinking about definitely joining an ERG, there's a lot of different aspects and different options that we have available that can help you in your career. So that was just a quick information about, some of the things that you can gain from joining a group.
No, thanks, Leslie, for your sharings on that. Anyone else who wants to share more about the benefits? Because I know that Leslie lists some of them, but well, if anyone wants to jump to share something more.
As you can see, this is a topic that we can just all elaborate, but from an internal perspective, I have seen the doors that have been opening up, the caring, not just within members, but the cross engagement with other ERGs. I'm someone who's very active within the internal population, like with all the employees. And I think that them seeing us being active and showing up who we are and what we can do as members and leaders of this ERG has made other people be feeling more comfortable and actually going and say, Bianca, I have this question, you may know or not, but can you, maybe point me to the right person, Linda, Leslie, or we have common opportunities to elaborate on internal related issues that are impacting AMS in general. And I think the collaboration, it has been a great part of the success of this ERG and how we all come across with the best disposition to help, to be a partner. And as we continue in this journey, I can see more opportunities opening up. I think Juntos Podemos was just open up the path for other ERGs and other groups that were not as well defined that are actually going to start moving forward to become ERGs in general in terms of global approach. We have members not just from the Americas, we have members all across our different regions, and it has been a very supportive group, I think, that we are feeling. Just yesterday, I was connecting with someone who's based in Hungary with a Hispanic background, wanted to understand more, new at AMS and whatnot, and we are, developing those opportunities internally as well.
Great, Linda. Great examples about these benefits. Anyone else, Augie? You want to share something?
Yeah, no, I think everyone really did a great point, Linda and Leslie. It's a crazy world these days, and things get tough. And so having the ERGs is very important to me because, I have good friends here that I can reach out to, and likewise, and we build on it, and it's definitely a great motivator to help us overcome when we do hit those struggles. I can't stress that enough because my team here is really like my family. So I'm very grateful for them.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. And I want to talk about that in my experience because, for me, AMS with this ERG group, it's, as you mentioned, is my family. Well, share some time with Linda here in Mexico. Well, I mentioned something, connect with the emotions, connect with Bianca, with you, with Krista, with Leslie. For me, definitely this is a great benefit because I move all those roadblock emotions when I've been part of this group, and then to share, well, this is me, this is Tomas, this is a safe space in which I really want to learn from them and then continue nurturing my career, but not only my career, also my personal life. This is something that you have been told me to be part of the member of Juntos Podemos. Yeah, definitely. Thanks you. You are so amazing, family. Okay, well, I start feeling emotional. Well, go ahead. Who wants to jump something?
If I can add something to everything that you've all already shared, I think what we successfully did was, we keep talking about creating a safe space. And that's, it's important. And it's important to be there to support each other, to make friends, to establish these relationships professionally, personally. But I think what we did was we made it okay to push back. I think culturally, we have this tendency, we as Hispanics and Latinos have this tendency to not want to rock the boat, right? We don't really want to make waves. We just, put your head down, work hard, and don't air your dirty laundry, that kind of thing. And a lot of topics are taboo, things like mental health, things like, asking for a promotion, and how do you do that for yourself, and, don't toot your own horn. And what I think this ERG made it okay to do is to push back and to make space for ourselves and to say, this is what I'm going through, and some of it is ugly, and let me tell you how. And it's not okay. It is not okay to keep us in the margins. It's not okay to overlook the impact of Hispanics and Latinos. We need more of us. We need to go out there and recruit. We need to promote. We need to develop, and we need to be vocal about what it is that we want to do, because it's not just going to happen for you. It's not just going to be something that you're given because you work hard. There's so much more to it than that. And I think we had to kind of break some of these tendencies from ourselves and from our members and lead by example by being open and raw and honest, the good, the bad, the ugly, through all of the tears, because we cry a lot. And in our ERG, we touch on topics that are very emotional and very powerful. It made it okay for others to do it. It made it okay for everyone else to say, I'm going to put that development plan together, and I'm going to schedule a conversation with my leader, and I'm going to go sign up for mentorship and start investing in myself, because it's okay to do that. So I had to mention this because I think that was something that our community was lacking.
Moving forward with another question and great experience. Well, Crystal, I would like to listen something from you, and maybe our audience also wants to listen to. Why do you consider ERGs essential for companies? And someone has mentioned, but could you tell us what is the most impactful moment you have had there, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So I definitely think that ERGs are very essential for companies for a variety of reasons. While an ERG really is an opportunity to educate allies and like in a sense create a sense of belonging amongst a group, especially amongst other organizational members that might not even identify with that group. That is a way to definitely educate them and essentially share wisdom that they otherwise wouldn't have experienced being outside of that group. Now, I think what makes an ERG so important for those who identify with that group is that ultimately you feel very seen and visible, and it offers respect to the individual story and a platform to discuss commonly shared experiences between everyone. So you feel less alone within a large organization like AMS or any other organization, because you can connect with individuals who can relate to you on like a deeper level than just, your average coworker. So cultivating that sense of belonging is really important to retention, in my opinion, when it comes to organizations, especially within diverse employees. They need to feel like they belong. And the best way to do that is to create an environment where that is happening. And that ultimately will help you retain employees long term. Now, when I joined AMS, this was actually the first company I had been a part of that not only had an ERG, but was prioritizing involvement with the organization outside of your day-to-day job, whether you were a member of that group or an ally of that group. So for me, I think the most impactful moment was probably because I joined around DEI week. And that's what introduced me to Juntos Podemos. I actually did not know what an ERG was. I didn't know that Juntos Podemos existed within AMS until DEI week. And it overlapped with Hispanic Heritage Month. So it was so cool to see the organization prioritizing the celebration of Hispanic heritage. It was not something that I had experienced up until this point. And really from that point forward, every event I joined with the Juntos Podemos group helped me integrate into the company, especially with working remote. I think this is something that Leslie brought up. That sense of belonging was really important to me and something I was very much needing, especially so early on in my AMS experience. Bianca, she was so quick to meet with me and help me integrate well with the overall team, which helped me feel like I had a place at AMS versus I feel like if I had not had this group help me integrate the organization, I may have just gotten lost in the shuffle of such a large organization that is mostly remote as well. But not only did I feel like I had a place at AMS through how my teammates were, helping me integrate into the company, but I also felt like I had a voice because that voice, the voice of our group was being amplified by the organization and its leaders. And I think that so valuable to see. And then not only did I feel like I had a voice, but I also felt like I had a listening ear amongst the whole organization. I felt like my onboarding experience would have been much more difficult without the support of Juntos Podemos. And knowing that, the leaders of our organization had this listening ear for our experiences was something that I don't take for granted. And certainly being part of Juntos Podemos helped me overcome, the imposter syndrome that might come as I navigated a new role and a new company. So I definitely think the support I received is something invaluable and something that really set apart my onboarding experience with AMS.
Oh, great journey, great story, Crystal. And you mentioned two words that, well, we are gonna walking through more around Hispanic Heritage Month in a couple of minutes, but something that resonate in my mind, it's this word that is belonging, that sometimes we also continue mention, well, in Mexico, especially here, because, audience that I'm based in Mexico, and all the people mention more the word engagement instead of belonging. And yeah, that word has that strong connotation, well, to create that opportunities inside of the companies. And I'm really pretty sure that, well, this with the ERGs, well, we can create that impact into the organizations.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's very hard for an organization to create, employer loyalty or brand loyalty if they don't have a sense of belonging for all the members of their organization. So I think AMS has really done an incredible job of creating that, whether you're a new employee or an established employee, whether you're in, Hispanic American or Latino, or you're, Black, or you're part of the LGBTQ group. You definitely have a place here, and they make sure that your voice feels heard and that you feel that sense of, your presence is important and it's valued by all of us that are here.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, thanks, Crystal, for sharing your thoughts around these questions. Well, we are walking through. We have more questions because this is an amazing topic that we are gonna resonate with our audience in HRpreneur. And well, just to let you know, our audience, this is the first time that we have more than 5 members with me, 6 members speaking in this HRpreneur podcast. And for the next questions, well, as I've been working in a project management space, and well, we know that when we start a project, we need a precise path to understand how we will cope with roadblocks. But sometimes projects are uncertain. I'm confident you can share your experience with our community implementing an ERG. Could you explain the process of setting up Juntos Podemos and the main constraints companies can face in creating an ERG? Augie, Bianca, I know that you have something to share with the audience.
Oh, yeah. It's a labor of love, that's for sure. It's not easy to launch an ERG. It takes a village, and that's putting it mildly. I think in the early days, going back to what Linda mentioned, we were just reaching out to people we knew, right? People who might be interested. And our very first meeting back in, I think it was like November of 2021, was 8 people. We had 8 people, and I'd say of those 8 people, there's like 4 of us that were still around, right? 4 hyper committed, really passionate people that said, okay, we're going to do this thing. And so we put together our first event. We met regularly. We had plans in place for a sobremesa event to celebrate like right before the holidays, bringing people together to talk about our cultural tradition. And we were able to invite the entire region, the Americas region. And we had a massive turnout, and that caught the attention of the DEI board at AMS and made them realize that we have something here. This is really impactful. We're going to do a formal global launch of the ERGs, a relaunch, if you will, and that was to happen in March. So between the holidays and the March relaunch, there was a lot of work building out our site on the AMS intranet page, putting content on Yammer, recruiting new members, getting the word out there, planning our calendar, setting goals and objectives, and making sure that those tied with the goals of AMS. It was a lot of work initially, but I think in that first year, we really answered the call with culturally relevant content, training opportunities, social engagements, regular meetings, and none of it would have worked without our board, our leadership team. We had folks from all different backgrounds at AMS, different levels at the company, different regions, and we made sure that we had representation from different countries so that everybody's voice could be heard, that we were really making sure that we were being inclusive of all of our potential members. And we were able to grow from 8 people to almost 200 across 11 countries in that first year alone. It was an incredible year for us, but none of it works without the passion and the drive of the people behind it, that leadership team to just show up and come up with the ideas and post the content and promote the events and spread the word. If you don't have that, you kind of fall flat. So I think it's about finding those people and giving them, empowering them to make their ideas come to life.
Gotcha. Okay, Augie?
Yeah, no, I think a great measurement was seen 1 year later when we did the second Sobre Mesa event. And I say this because not only was it phenomenal, and I can't wait for the third one to be just as good, but we had totally different members in the second one versus the first. And that's a huge testament to our membership being active, you know, not necessarily being in a leadership position, but asking if they could have a seat and us giving that to them. And again, you know, seeing the passion and the quality and the event was I'll be honest, I was very proud, just seeing how far we've grown and came along, and we're just getting started. So
Got it. Anyone else? Linda, I saw your face that you want to share something.
Yeah, just quickly agree, because I remember the sobremesa. First, it was all the fun, cultural. Tell us what you do, what your family does. The second year, things started getting a little bit more, I guess, comfortable with each other and say, hey, let's be open. COVID just passed, a lot of losses. How are you feeling? How are you feeling? And I can imagine the third one is always gonna, you know, spark a different level of conversation. And it's like when you are in a new relationship, right? Like you start getting comfortable, showing a little bit about yourself, and then just getting to the really important conversations, the ones that matter. And I think the evolution of the ERG has been shown really, really clear into we are here, not just for the fun part. Loteria game, awesome, count me in. Augie preparing an amazing meal and giving us his recipes, fantastic, it's part of our culture. But hey, what about the important, you know, topics that we need to discuss? We are comfortable. This is a safe place. You know, we are here for each other. So I think that evolution has been shown into how we grow into those conversations too. I'm with Aggie. The next sobremesa, I think, is going to have a different, more maybe word spiking conversations there. So can really wait for it. You should come for sure, Thomas. I'm sure you'll have a lot to contribute.
No, yeah, definitely. I will love to be part of these coming activities. But yeah, definitely something that you mentioned in a project and see your passion in that. Maybe that is a clue to really achieve a successful project. And I know that, yeah, I really love this passion that you have to continue producing these new things and to continue growing this amazing ERG group or community inside of AMS. Thanks thanks for sharing all these thoughts. And something that Crystal realizes or starts sharing is about the Hispanic Heritage Month. And well, you know, the Hispanic Heritage Month is coming, and you have mentioned some examples around that. I know that you contribute to many things on the ERG, and you have mentioned something. Could you describe how you celebrate this inside Juntos Podemos? Also, could you provide some facts and numbers about it? For example, how many participants you have, and what other initiatives or events do you have to foster meaningful connections or conversations among employees across cultures? Augie, would you like to join in?
Sure. So in the United States, Hispanic Heritage Month is recognized and observed from the 15th of September to the 15th of October. At AMS, we're a global organization, so how we celebrate and recognize Hispanic Heritage Month, we also are mindful of the Independence Day of the various Latin American countries, including Mexico, Brazil, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, so many. And so why not we celebrate that here, but also too, addressing back to the needs of our ERG, we are going to facilitate an excellent conversation on authenticity. We have a guest speaker who's going to discuss about, you know, imposter syndrome, and again, provide that education and promoting us to be our authentic selves. So it's going to be a very good event. We Bianca did touch on our membership. We currently sit around 200. And so, you know, again, we're looking forward to seeing the event. Most of our live events, Tomas, they do generate a large audience, maybe even triple our membership. So again, we're grateful for our company and showing the support, our leaders, and celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month here with Juntos Podemos at AMS.
Thanks. Anyone else who wants to share something more about the Hispanic Heritage Month coming?
I will, Tina. So as everyone knows, that is a very important month for us here in the United States. And we wanted to share that with the rest of the world, right? This is the opportunity that we get the stage. This is the opportunity where the rest of AMS gets to join us. So it's not just for our members, for our board, for our leaders. It's for anyone that wants to learn more about our traditions, the way we celebrate our heritage. And like Augie said, we make sure that we invite, you know, the different regions, especially for our big event. We do have a lot of fun during that month. We even throughout the year, you know, we had famous chefs on as part of our events. We had very serious conversations. We have training and development. But this is definitely an opportunity that we very much appreciate from leadership, for them to be able to provide us with those weeks for us to really showcase what we're capable of doing, and for other people to learn about our heritage. So yeah, looking forward to it.
No, thanks, Leslie, for sharing that. Bianca, would you like to share something, or you?
Well, I can share from historical, having the opportunity to celebrate globally, taking an American celebration and bringing it to a global audience was really impactful, with some of the data that we were able to share that was prepared for all Hispanic and Latino ERGs to use through the Hispanic Star. But I think, you know, in terms of reach, right? I went back just as we were talking and looked at some of the numbers from our attendance, and depending on the event that we had about 4 different events and a volunteer week during Hispanic Heritage Month last year. We ranged from around 300 to 400 attendees per event, which is, you know, it's pretty sizable audience. Hopefully this year we can get even more folks who remember maybe enjoying their experience or what they learned about last year and want to tune in.
Yeah, thanks for sharing more about this Hispanic Heritage Month. That, well, definitely we are going to celebrate with a huge different events. Okay, well, moving forward with the other question, I have heard that most of you belong not only to Juntos Podemos, because I know that you share with our audience what other groups are at AMS and the vocation of each of them. I know that you mentioned something, but how do you ensure that your ERGs remain inclusive and welcoming to all employees, regardless of their backgrounds? Leslie?
Sure, thank you. So as Linda mentioned before, we actually have a total of 8 ERGs within AMS, which is a pretty healthy group if you think about it for our size. The groups have been able to do a lot. Some of those ERGs include disability, neurodiversity, social mobility, women, LGBTQ+, Black Employee Network, military, and of course us, Juntos Podemos. So this past year, in 2023, we really wanted to concentrate on the goal of collaborating with each other. Is how do we come together and really learn and support each other on the group's challenges. We all have different challenges, but at the same time, we share a lot of very similar difficulties that we wanted to talk about. How can we support each other and learn from each other? If you actually go to the website on AMS and learn more about the different ERG groups, you're going to see that on each name, it says allies. Allies are very important to us, right? Because they are the ones that come into our group that show that interest in learning, that respect, that ability to showcase what we do, but also advocate for us, advocate for the challenges that we may be facing and helping us celebrate what we're all about. So we want to make sure that, we're always reaching out and accepting people from many different backgrounds, and that we're also working with each other. We have held events, for example, with the military group. We have held events with the LGBTQ committee, ERG, during their month, which is the month of June in the United States. So really supporting each other's events. So we're all at the same level. So we're all working together and really be able to accomplish our goals. As Bianca mentioned before, we do have members from all different countries. We want to make sure that we include Brazil, Spain, Mexico. We have people with different heritage from Latin America and Europe. We have members that live in the UK. They happen to be born in a Latin American country and they just moved to another country. So we also want to make sure that we bring light to those particular issues that they're facing, because as you know, every country is going to be different, right? So even though we tend to have a little bit of more focus in the United States, that is definitely one of our goals, to really share the way that Hispanics, Latin America celebrate their heritage in other areas of the world, but also what kind of challenges and difficulties they're sharing. So it's definitely a work in progress for us. But I think even though we're still a young ERG, or a little bit over a year and a half, we've been able to accomplish a lot in making sure that everyone feels engaged, no matter where you're from, and no matter where you are.
Yeah, and that great network around all the organization to connect with the different ERG groups. Okay, so nice. Well, we have a couple more questions, team. Please don't be patient, because these topics is very important for our audience, please. But then, as we move forward into the different questions, we almost finalize something related, but I know that our audience also would love to listen and learn more about yourself. But well, moving forward with the other questions, and I know that this question, Linda is so passionate with these questions. Our ERGs are one piece of the complex DNA puzzle strategy, but in your experience, are ERGs a crucial component of the DEI strategy? Secondly, why are you so engaged in leading the efforts of ERGs, and those have helped you beyond your workday?
Please bear with me, because this is really close to me.
Yeah.
So ERGs are definitely critical support to the business, to any business. So you mentioned the complex DEI puzzle strategy. Now imagine within each ERG, there is a different puzzle. in there, right? We are, and we cannot be defined by one ERG that we belong. Just look at the Hispanic community. Look at us Latinos. We come in different shapes, forms, colors, accent, languages, dreams, passions, objectives, heritage. So that's a whole puzzle within itself. Then you add that to the massive D&I puzzle. And sometimes you are just a little piece of that puzzle that makes you wonder, where do I belong? Because I think I can belong to the Juntos Podemos ERG, but I can also belong to the military D&I puzzle. So it gets extremely complex, but it should not be complicated, because there's one component within that puzzle that we all have, and it's that human aspect. So diversity and inclusion is inherent to the AMS culture, and creating a work environment where business looks like the communities we support. We want to always look for that recognition. See yourself in other ERGs. And again, the word I think is the belonging part. So Juntos Podemos provides a safe platform that empowers our Hispanic Latin community to collaborate, to celebrate and educate within the AMS community, while also driving and encouraging growth. So a little bit about myself, without trying to make it personal, but since you asked, why am I so engaged in leading these efforts? I am Mexican who relocated to beautiful Canada 25 years ago. You guys, my colleagues, my friends here have heard this story before, but I'm married to a non-Hispanic, and I have children who were born in Europe and now are being raised Canadians. So we face different challenges as a families, and the question in their mind is always, where do I belong? Do I belong to this group? Do I belong? And you know what the answer is? You don't have to just put yourself in one of those puzzles within the puzzle. You can belong anywhere you feel comfortable. You can actually just be part and celebrate everything, while also be hopefully proud of your roots, you know, wherever those roots are. So to me, why the passion on leading the efforts of Juntos Podemos is really the collaboration and encouragement to be the best version of myself with my friends, my co-workers, my colleagues. That's what drives me each day. I will never forget one of our Hispanic celebration meetings that Bianca and Leslie organized. It was extremely powerful. It was recorded. It was Leslie coming, I feel, off script and just being her authentic self, which is one of our values at AMS. And she was just displaying so much pride, so much passion into what being Hispanic was like, that I just managed to actually say, we're having dinner, but tonight we are listening and we are watching this video. So at home with the family, we listened to Leslie. Leslie just became a figure at our household from that moment. And that's what we hope we inspire, right? That we actually have those sobremesa conversations, right? With our families, that it goes beyond just what we do in here day to day at work, but actually, you know, it prompts the conversation on why an ERG is important. I know there's going to be times when my children are going to remember the conversation, the powerful words that Leslie shared with us on that night. So that's just one of many. But I will love to also hear from all my friends here. I know they're passionate as well, and that's the reason why it has been such a successful ERG.
Thanks, Linda, for sharing that thoughts with our audience. And definitely, since I connect with you, well, definitely you lead me during that month 1 year ago, 1.5 years ago. Yeah, I remember when you come to Mexico to visit us. Yeah, definitely you are one of the part of that puzzle to continue connecting and to continue, well, you give me that North Star to continue creating these spaces, taking all these exercise, and you motivate me also to, yeah, to develop all these things with my AMS colleagues. Thanks for sharing that with our audience. Anyone else who wants to share something about this question? Yeah, go ahead.
I'll share, especially when it comes to DEI strategy. And thank you for your words, Linda. And again, bringing it back to the organization, the type of impact that we're bringing, right? Talking about being able to feel included, being engaged, big part of the DEI strategy, right? If you cannot get your employees to feel included, to be able to be their authentic selves, a lot of organizations are not able to do that. AMS has been working on that, and it has been working so far, especially with giving ERG groups the opportunity to grow and their support that we get. When it comes to belonging, I was having this conversation with Bianca because I also wanted to join the women ERG, right? And I said, yes, I am Hispanic, Latin America, but I'm also a woman, right?
Yeah.
So there are certain topics that the women's ERG has been able to bring to light and to the table, which affect women. And I would like to think in every part of the world, you know, difficult conversations, maternity leave, taking care of parents, menopause. I never
Yeah.
worked for a company that talked about menopause and everything that women have to go through, and being able to have that education, not only for women, but also for our male peers, right? Learning more about our challenges, difficulties. And it goes the same with other ERGs, military, you know, I am a recruiter, a sourcer. So learning about how can we source more military people? What are the strengths that they could bring to an organization? So that's really all part of the strategy, you know. So this is a big part of the puzzle, bringing it back to your question of we need to have that safe space. We need to be open about talking about everything that we're facing. And I think that's what makes ERG successful in this organization, that they have that ability to open the door and have these very honest discussions, at the same time having fun and doing all these great things, you know.
Yeah.
So thank you for starting that conversation, Linda.
No, thanks. Thanks, Tim. Yeah, honest, that word also resonated in me. Honest conversation is something that, well, I suppose this world needs more in not only in the work spaces, also in our personal life. Yeah. Okay, thanks, Tim. Well, with this, well, it's the moment to jump into the personal questions around that. And I know that you are so eager to share more about in this dynamic that we have in HRpreneur before to move forward with this question. But I have an open question related with entrepreneurship in your field of expertise, but I'm going to jump this question at this moment, at the end, because, well, I would like that you share more about the other question that I have in my list. But starting with Bianca, with this question is, what has led you to create a profound inner transformation that you have been able to transfer to organizations to break with the fears in which the human being sometimes stagnates?
So this is a really good question. I think the inner transformation, so I kind of have to go back a little bit to that first meeting that we had with this ERG, because I mentioned earlier on that this was an item on our wish list that we were given the green light to move forward with. And at that initial meeting, we didn't have any structure, we didn't have any leaders, and it ended up being a vote, and it was like, okay, you lead it. So, okay, sure, I'll do it. That's fine. And as we were preparing for our first major ERG membership meeting after the relaunch in March of last year, I was really nervous. I was really nervous because, you know, personally, I'm of Mexican American descent. I live in Chicago. Have my whole life, and I'm not fluent in Spanish. And it was always a source of conflict for me. Where do I belong? I wasn't Mexican enough for my Mexican colleagues growing up, but I was always the token brown person in my white Irish Catholic neighborhood where I grew up. And it was this constant feeling of like, I guess I don't really fit in anywhere. And for me, that transformation of being able to own that, that doesn't make me less. That's me. That's my experience that I own. And it doesn't make me less Latina. It doesn't make me less of a force for others to come together and to celebrate. And I remember sharing that on the call, and I was getting very emotional about this. And the comments were flooding in from people saying, I feel the same way. I can totally agree. Don't ever feel like you're not enough. And the amount of support was overwhelming that in that moment, I realized like, this is it. This is who I am. This is something that I can do. I can use this platform to help others. And the floodgates opened to be comfortable sharing things, dark, heavy things that I've been carrying with others, to face down that fear. This is not going to define me anymore. I will not give any more energy to feeling small because somebody else said so, or somebody else has got their foot and is trying to push down on us. No, no more. And I think that was the moment for me where it all just kind of fell into place. And I knew that this ERG that I was so privileged to lead for the time that I did was really going to make a difference for people, because then you start seeing other folks chiming in and opening up and sharing, and before you know it, there's tears, there's other things, but what's not there anymore is that nagging fear that I'm not good enough, that I'm not Latina enough, that I'm not smart enough to be in the room. So for me, that was really impactful. I try to live with that each and every day. I've had the opportunity to speak on a number of different engagements at AMS and partnering with other ERGs. We did a session about racism with the Black Employee Network, the South Asian Affinity Group, and the Pacific Islander Affinity Group. That was incredibly therapeutic for me. As well as a call with the Women's Network, where I talked about stuff that I had not uttered out loud in a long time. And I think being able to look back and appreciate all of the hard times and how it formed you and the person you are today, and no longer giving into those fears, but really stepping into the light and saying, yes, I can do whatever it is that I set my mind to. It's powerful, especially so when you have the support of your colleagues and your friends, like the folks here in Juntos Podemos and the other ERGs. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, no, yeah, that answered the question, and all your experience at Juntos will be so worldwide for our audience. Yeah, that answered the questions. Don't worry about it. Yeah, thanks, Bianca. Well, as you can see, well, I changed my background because this is the personal questions, in which I always try to change my background with the HRpreneur podcast logo. Okay, well, next questions in this exercise. I know that our audience you love to listen from you all these lists of questions, but I know maybe then we can create a specific a podcast with you, and I'm gonna do that because in the future, well, wait, audience, we are gonna have not only episodes, because we are gonna create in a new exercise with HRpreneur that we call minisodes, and wait for it in the coming months. Yeah, but well, next questions. What recommendation would you give those who run an organization, an area, or entrepreneurship to make a profound change truly? Crystal, could you share your thoughts?
Oh, absolutely. I think the main recommendation I would give to anyone who runs either an organization or a specific area within an organization, or is an entrepreneur and trying to, set up their own business, is I think it's important to make that listening ear a priority. The experiences of those around you are incredibly valuable, to elevating the overall employee experience. But if you are not listening to your employees, the changes that you will implement will not match their needs and may even be fruitless because it's not going to resonate with the people that you are managing, that you are leading. So encouraging that involvement in ERGs or prioritizing the creation of ERGs with an organization is truly an incredible first step to building that organizational listening ear, because I think that's the part that most organizations are missing. And once you have those groups, by getting involved and allowing others to get involved as well, and truly just being open to what is being shared, you can take action in a way that will have a lasting impact on your organizational success. You know, companies that are considered great places to work by the public often reach that notoriety by being engaged with their employees and making an intentional effort to listen well first and then take action. There's a lot of organizations that take action without listening well first. And I think it's important to really have that organizational listening ear as a priority if you really want to have a lasting impact on an employee's experience within your organization.
Thanks. And this, recall me to a concept that is called co-creation, in which, well, now we need to co-create all the different strategies inside the companies. And well, another reflection is to have, that is the reason that, well, I heard this example in which, well, every human being has 2 ears instead of one mouth, because we need to listen more than talk. Yeah, well, thanks.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
That's a great metaphor.
Yeah, thanks, Crystal, for sharing this experience with our audience. Life is full of challenges. What has been your biggest challenge and what learning did you take, Augie?
Yeah, I got a lot of challenges. You got time, Tomas?
Yeah.
No, I'll say this is I'll address the lesson, and here's the thing, especially for entrepreneurs, and you'll get this. You can learn a lot in the classroom or through books and your research, but there's no substitution for experience. And a lot of times, because we're human, fear will kick in. Okay, so don't forget that. Yes, it's okay to be nervous, but also don't forget what you're capable of and your goals, because they are greater, they are strong. And a lot of times, if you allow that fear to keep you from taking that first step, you don't know what you're going to miss out. So take that step. You might fail, and it's okay, because it's also an opportunity to learn and grow from it. And that's why the experience is so valuable. And just keep shooting for your goals. Don't let up until you're there. So that's what I have to offer, Tomas.
No, thanks, Augie, for sharing with our
And
audience.
to come back to my experience, being a dad, because there's no manual to tell you how to do it. You just end up doing it. And again, it has its highs and lows. But if you're a parent, you know what I'm talking about.
Thanks, Augie. Well, next question. What is the best advice you got to break the status quo? And what impact did it have on your life, Leslie?
Sure. So when it comes not only to your career, but also to your life, your personal life, is something that I learned is speak up and act. If you see a need, try to fill it.
Yeah.
You will see that it will give you a sense of purpose that is so much bigger than just you, so much bigger than yourself. And hold your leaders accountable if you're talking about work or your career. And I think they crave that, right? Is they became leaders for a reason. So sometimes we have to share that with them, is what will make you a great leader. Hold them accountable for their work, and hold yourself accountable for not only bringing up ideas and challenges, but acting on them and try to make that difference. And that has changed my life, especially at AMS. because I have been able to speak up my mind, be my authentic self, and my colleagues here will tell you that.
Yeah.
I have become a very different person than I used to be. I feel more comfortable talking about difficult situations, but also coming up with a fix, coming up with suggestions to be able to change that.
Yeah.
So that's what I have.
Thanks, Leslie. Yeah, good reflection. And I really appreciate that you share this experience with our audience. But because sometimes when I receive a couple of messages when someone listen to and they say me, well, that resonated in me because this is a specific example or advice that I need in my life. Thanks. I suppose that it will be so valuable for someone of our audience. Last of our personal questions and is for Linda. Linda, what do you think is your mission to grow organizations through a talent strategy, in this case with the ERGs?
Well, the ERGs, as we have been mentioning, and I hope it resonates well by this stage with everyone who did not know what an ERG was before this amazing podcast. The ERGs provide a safe platform where people can learn, challenge, and educate one another in differences, but also similarities that make us one people. So our business needs to reflect our communities, their passions, their challenges, candidates and clients, and the world ever changing around us that are changing, the increasing visibility that all of these ERGs have, how they correlate and how they just, are a big part of a successful organization. I feel that the world needs organizations such as AMS, leaders that support ERGs like our leaders at AMS, but also more than ever, standing firm in its dedication, goals, objectives around diversity and inclusion. I feel that AMS, it's leading that change, demonstrating success in an inclusive and equitable environment. Talent strategy, it's part of every organization, external talent attraction, but also how do we maintain that internal talent engaged, and how much the drive comes also depending on what ERG they identify they belong to and they like to continue being part of. At AMS, as we say, talent is our world, and our world is made of a lot of complex but amazing, beautiful colors and tones that are actually just creating a new vision for what companies should actually aim to be, dedicate to be. And within, that massive part of an ERG, we all play an important part. So I think they are going to be leading the future of successful organizations, but they also raising successful human beings that feel that they have a place that they can call home, and within that home, have their own bedroom.
Thanks, Linda, for sharing this. I really connect with another reflection in myself that we need to build those links between these human beings to continue to develop huge things across the board. Yeah, not only in business, in the companies, also in our day-to-day lives, to continue creating those strong relations and a strong network to connect, to pursue this higher purpose in our lives. Thanks. This was the last question that I have prepared for you in this HRpreneur podcast with this exercise or dynamic that I have in the personal questions. But before to jump into close these conversations, I don't know if you want to share your last thought, if you have one of them, or move forward with the closing conversation.
I did want to add something to what Linda just said about talent strategy. I think, she really highlighted something very important, and that's that talent strategy is not just about attracting people to your organization to fill roles. It's also about retaining the people that you have. And I think a lot of the times we focus on the external part of the talent strategy, which is how do I get people into my organization? But then we sometimes lack in the focus of how do I keep people within my organization? And so I love that she defined talent strategy as you focus on both. And that's what makes a talent strategy really successful. And I do agree with her that AMS has really prioritized that within their organization. And over the past year of being here, I can definitely see that. And I do think that it makes a really big difference when an organization prioritizes both aspects of the talent strategy.
Yeah, and most in this complex world in which, well, the environment is changing, the positions, the jobs, the skills-based organization, job-based organization to skill-based organization. There are a lot of things changing that, well, I know that AMS is the leader on doing this for the future of organizations. Thanks, Crystal. Well, team, family, friends, I appreciate your time sharing your knowledge of ERGs and Juntos Podemos with our amazing community of HRpreneur. I'm so grateful that at the end of this podcast, our audience has a deeper and broader understanding of this topic and its impact on organizations and people's lives, especially people's lives. So please let us know where the audience can reach you out to be in contact with you, because I'm sure that they would like to meet you. And can you, the audience, contact you on a particular social network? Remember that our audience will be able to review the information in the podcast description, but I don't know if you can share if it's LinkedIn or your email. Who wants to be the first?
I can start it just by saying thank you for inviting us, first of all, to this amazing podcast. And it's really a privilege to have individuals like you representing the Hispanic community, being a member of Juntos Podemos, an active member. I just want to thank you on behalf of everyone here and all the colleagues that have been listening to your wisdom, and say thank you, Thomas. Keep going out to the world and tell them what we Latinos are made of, what AMS is promoting. And personally, my name is Linda Castillo Mesaros, because that's my married last name. So you can find me on LinkedIn, but also if you go to amscareers.com, there will be a lot of opportunities. We have a specific diversity and inclusion talent pool advert, where if you are interested in joining our organization or having a discussion with us, I'll be more than happy to engage with you directly, or have someone from our amazing internal talent acquisition team connecting with you.
Yeah, thanks, Linda, for sharing that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll go next. My name is Leslie Contreras, and please feel free to send me a note at leslie.contreras@weareams.com. And also, I wanted to put in a shameless plug. Get ready for Hispanic Heritage Month, where I'm going to be sharing some facts and statistics of contributions that Hispanics in Latin America have been able to bring to the United States and also other countries. Please feel free to join us on Yammer. So if you want to be a part of our Juntos Podemos family, just feel free to go on it and click the button that says join, and you are going to be starting to get some invites from us, and also get some more information about what it's like to be on the ERG. Thanks to AMS for providing this human touch and being so supportive of our group, giving us that opportunity to be open, authentic, talk about our opportunities and struggles. And thank you, Tomas, for really inviting us to this podcast and be able to talk about our group. I wish you the best of luck. I think you're doing a great job with this. So thank you again for having us. And one quick thing that I wanted to say before I let you go is, I know that you talk about, how do you live your entrepreneurship in your field of expertise? Like, how have you become an entrepreneur? How do you feel that you have become an entrepreneur? And I want to share this for anybody out there that is Hispanic, Latin American, or a very different background, any heritage. And we know that we're going through a lot in this world, especially with immigrants, right?
Yeah.
And I just want to remind everyone that if it were your grandparents, your great-grandparents, yourself, if you were an immigrant, just the fact that you were able to cross that border, that automatically makes you an entrepreneur. We are willing to learn a new way of life. Think about it. We have no fear. We're starting over in a completely different country. Those experiences will help you and has helped me to be able to be better in my career as a diversity recruiter, because it gave me a better understanding of not only the struggles, but also the strengths that we all have. So again, thank you very much for your time, everyone. It has been a pleasure.
Thank you, Leslie. Thanks for sharing the last. Bianca, could you?
Sure. Yeah. So I'm Bianca Deal. It was an honor to be here today. I'm really excited to continue working with you, Tomas. Tomas has agreed to be my mentor, so very excited to start that relationship and happy that AMS has invested in the mentorship platform. If you don't have a mentor yet, I highly encourage you to go out there and look for one. And, I'm excited to be a part of this. And I'll add something just to what Leslie said is, looking around, we are our ancestors' wildest dreams, right? Everything we're doing is in continuance with what they had hoped for us and really paving the way for the next generation. So keep going, everyone, just keep going and keep your head held high.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bianca. Crystal? Thanks.
I'm happy to share where you can send me a note, give me a connection, whichever you would prefer. But probably the best way to reach me would be on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And I show up as Crystal Chico. So just my name. And Crystal is with a K instead of a C. So that will help you find me on LinkedIn. And I just want to thank you, Tomas, for this time that we've gotten to spend with you and with your listeners, and just the opportunity to have this platform to have a really fruitful discussion. So we're really thankful for you and just the impact that you've had on our lives as well as on AMS as a whole.
Thanks, Crystal. Thanks, everyone. All of you has been impacting my life since I met with you. Yeah, thanks. Augie.
Thank you, Tomas. And I'm still feeling a little starstruck here because, when I first saw your podcast earlier in the year, I was a fan. So I still am.
Thanks.
And so thank you very much. I'm very happy that we're able to share our story as Juntos Podemos here. And if you would like to reach me, I'm available on LinkedIn with my first name, Augie Munoz, Augie Munoz, Munoz. Or you can reach me on email at my AMS account at Agustin, AUGUSTIN.Munoz@weareams.com. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thanks, everyone. You are my family. You are my team members. And well, as I mentioned, I appreciate your time. Well, thanks. And I send you a big, big hug. And well, great community for this amazing podcast.
Remember to connect with me on LinkedIn as Tomas Cortez and on Instagram as Tomas H. Cortez. And tell me what other topics you would like to listen to in the coming weeks. We wish that HRpreneur becomes a community where you can learn how to create a human-centric vision and at the same time break the status quo. So please help us to achieve our purpose of inviting your friends to follow HRpreneur and to leave comments. Thanks for sharing your time with us, and we look forward to seeing you in our next episode to continue evolving.